We pick up our story after James has just taken the life of Eddie Dombrowski, a brutal bloodbath in the meat freezer behind us which weighs heavy on our mind. James is now facing out to Toluca Lake, and we have but one last location to visit before the truth is revealed and our journey concludes. Welcome back to my Loremaster and Secrets playthrough. This is episode 5, the final episode. Kind of an emotional ride this series has been for me, but we can talk about that more later. We have more pressing issues afoot. James has this one last place to look for Mary, as Maria tipped us off before dying a second time earlier on. There's a videotape that James and Mary left in the hotel across the lake. This is the only place that if Mary was truly still alive and waiting for us, she'd be. There's a small rowboat here that we can climb inside and begin paddling out into the eerie and ever foggy lake. And this section has about as much peace to it as it does tension. There's nothing attacking us out here. This isn't Resident Evil 4. But instead, this is time for us to reflect on everything that we've been through thus far, the strange characters that we've met and their significance to the overall plot. There's Angela, a scared, unstable young lady who is given brief moments where she seemingly knows more than we do about this town and our disposition. We've had Laura, the little white rabbit who knows something about Mary but will never stick around long enough to tell us. And there's Eddie, who started out as a scared, crumpled mess, but has since embraced his shadow and become a violent threat that we needed to snuff out. And of course Maria, who has shown us that she isn't exactly as human as the other people I've just mentioned. She was being a little bit sinister before her second departure from the corporeal realm too, wouldn't you say? This was all steering us towards the truth, but we still have some haze, or should I say fog, to dispel before we can get there. The boat ride wants us to steer towards the glowing light, much like the story that Maria told us in the gardens before we hit the movie theatre much earlier on. It's deliberately long because the game wants us to settle down a bit before their grand finale, the push and pull of tension. Eventually, we hit a cutscene and James docks up and climbs out. The map that we pick up in front of us lets us know we're on the outskirts of the Lakeview Hotel. As we walk up through the serene gardens obscured by the town's thick fog, James remarks that this place hasn't changed at all in 3 years. Remember this detail because we'll learn later how delusional of a comment that was to make. The Lakeview Hotel looks absolutely stunning as we get close enough for it to emerge from the fog. This grand-looking establishment was home to one of James and Mary's sentimental moments from their honeymoon. Winkling this out of James's deeply repressed mind is the last hope of finding out what really happened between them and why we're even in Silent Hill looking for her in the first place. The hotel itself speaks to James before we enter the front door with the welcome back signage. This has an equally pleasant and sinister undertone to it, wouldn't you say? Inside looks remarkably normal, for now. We pick up the map of the building and room 312 has Mary's handwriting scribbled over the top, waiting for you. Okay, that room has now become our primary objective. Stepping further into the lobby, there's an eerie sense that we've seen this before. Not in this game, but related to the novel The Shining. The Stanley Hotel in Colorado was where Stephen King wrote his novel The Shining. That hotel was the inspiration for the fictional Overlook Hotel found in the novel and the movie adaptations. But Bloober Team used the Stanley Hotel's theme and floor plan almost one-to-one at times for the Silent Hill 2 Remake's hotel. The double doors at the end of the lobby are open and we can hear some mysterious piano notes echoing from within.
Did I scare you?
Yeah, you did. I guess I deserved it, huh? The fart face that I am.
Maybe. Then again, maybe you're not so bad. Just annoying.
Uh-huh. So, You got any other things planned? I think I saw a dark room back there you could lock me up in.
No. I think you've had enough. For now.
Well, that's reassuring.
Besides, I need your help finding Mary. She's here. Isn't she? Come on, tell me.
I wish I knew.
But she said it in her letter.
Wait. So there really is a letter?
Oh. Yeah. Want to read it? Just don't tell Rachel, okay?
Who's Rachel?
She's our nurse. I, took it from her locker.
My dearest Laura, I'm leaving this letter with Rachel to give to you after I'm gone. I'm far away now, in a quiet, beautiful place. Please forgive me for not saying goodbye before I left. Be well, Laura. Don't be too hard on the sisters. And Laura, about James. I know you hate him because you think he isn't nice to me, but please, give him a chance. It's true, he can be a little surly sometimes, and he doesn't laugh much. But underneath, he's a really sweet person. I love you, Laura. I love you like my very own daughter. I wish things were different. I wish we could be happy together, like we talked about. Even so, I know you will have a good life. You're a strong, smart, beautiful girl. Happy 8th birthday, Laura. Your friend, Mary.
Laura. How old are you?
I turned 8 last week.
That means... Mary couldn't have died 3 years ago. Could she really be here? Is this the quiet, beautiful place she was talking about?
Me and Mary talked a lot about Silent Hill. She even showed me all her pictures. She really wanted to come back. She also talked a lot about you, you know? She even...
What? What is it?
Well, it kind of was his other letter. I think the one was for you. The envelope had your name on it.
Did you read it?
I wanted to. This one time, I almost did. Figured you didn't deserve to have it. But then I thought, Mary wouldn't want me to keep it from you. So I just sort of kept it for you. Here.
It's empty. Laura, there's nothing in it.
What? But I didn't take it. I swear.
Well, where is it then?
I must have lost it. I gotta find it.
Laura!
It was, of course, Laura again. This time, though, she seems to have settled down a little bit on the haterade. She comes across much warmer to James this time around, and James is a lot softer with her in this exchange too. Even joking about that time. Remember that time where she locked us in a room with flesh lips to die? Remember that? Yeah, the good old days. The conversation progresses to where Laura reveals that she has a real letter written by Mary that she stole from the nurse's locker in the hospital. Because remember, Laura is supposedly a real person, not a phantom or an apparition conjured by the town's mystical powers. James reads it out in Mary's voice. And it suggests that Mary left this letter to Rachel to give to Laura to read after she'd succumbed to her sickness and left the land of the living. Mary is apologising for not being able to give Laura the life she wanted by adopting her, and to go easy on our lovely James, even if he is a little bit mean to Mary at times. She ends by wishing Laura a happy 8th birthday, and this is significant. James gets spun by this information and prompts Laura to tell us her age. Laura responds that she turned 8 last week. James realised that his math is no longer mathing, and we're getting to the point where we have to accept that James's account of the timeline of Mary's departure is inaccurate, and even he's starting to concede on that. Laura hasn't finished dropping bombs yet though, because she's got another one for us. Apparently there's another letter supposedly written by our dear late wife, and this one was written directly to James too. Only problem is, the envelope was empty. We get instantly deflated and Laura runs away with her freakishly long arms to go look for it. And as we get control of James again, I was thinking, all this talk of letters written by Mary makes me want to check the one we have on our person, just real quick. It's just a blank piece of paper. This is certainly not helping James's case, is it? The whole reason we're even here is because of this letter, and now we can see there's just nothing written on it at all. I think our boy might be a little cuckoo, guys. Just a little cuckoo. Laura was doing some of her signature artwork on the glass panels of the patio door here. This time, instead of the rabbit running away from a scary monster, Laura has drawn us as a friendly dog, indicating that her feelings towards us have changed since we last met, for better or for worse. Behind the desk back at the reception, we grab ourselves the keys to room 312. This is the room that Mary is supposedly waiting for us in. Also here we get the key to the music box puzzle in the centre of the lobby behind us. There's a note left out on the counter. It's written to James, informing him that his and Mary's OnlyFans content was left behind, and the staff at Lakeview have stored it in their safe waiting for James should he ever want to come back and collect it. Leading through the double doors at the right side of the lobby leads us to a much darker corridor, and the sounds of our radio hissing and our little mates can be heard instantly. I guess the quiet part is over, huh? We head left and deal with a lying figure the only way we know how. And a mannequin bursts out through the door of room 101 and just lets itself into the fray. I mean, how the hell do these guys turn doorknobs? They're all legs. And they haven't even got feet or toes on the end of their leg arms. Inside the room, we can see a little Easter egg in the way of a set of funeral clothes left out in a briefcase. Clothes which are exactly what James is wearing, and a little card stating the funeral was for someone named Sean Mitchell. This is a little nod at the two famous actors that starred in the 2006 film Silent Hill, those being Sean Bean and Rada Mitchell. There's not much else in this room for us, so it's time to continue the sweep of this floor. At the other end of the hallway from before, we clean up some more filth and enter the botanical room. There's a chalkboard in here with the message, Hedera helix seems to have some sort of pest. Separate it from the rest of the plants or they'll all die. This is another theme of sickness or a plague, spreading and killing anything it touches. But the Hedera helix is another name for ivy, which can sometimes be a symbol of everlasting vitality on account of their ability to stay green so long. They're also used at some weddings to symbolise the foreverness of the whole ordeal, so this could be another hint at James and Mary's marriage falling to bits after she caught her mysterious illness, or telling a story of something that was supposed to last forever was cut short by something out of their control. On the table in this room we get the sunrise wing key. And before we leave, we can take a look at how dead all these plants in here look. Get down with the sickness, eh? With our newly acquired key, we take the stairs back in the lobby to the second floor, where we can now open the sunrise wing and continue playing detective. Okay. White cloth catches the eye and we Peter parkour over the reception desk into the small cloakroom. Unlocking the bolted door to the left, we're greeted with another cliché window-blowing moment as we continue to explore a room full of static mannequins. No points for guessing what's going to be in here, huh? I mean, probably, right? A red dress sprawled out on the sofa draws us close and we find the key to room 202 resting atop of it. And then we get arguably the worst ambush attempt ever made by a mannequin. A single shotgun shell sends it to the fucking Shadow Realm. On a console table at the far left corner, we pick up the ripe apple, and this will be important to get the ending that we're going for. Heading back out and through those windy doors allows us to use a balcony to reach a small pharmacy room. A single nurse is in here, but she must be overworked or something, because she's hella hostile. There's a few items in here to pick up, so make sure we don't miss those, but a very curious patient file seemingly belonging to Mary can also be found. James can pick it up and look at the front cover, but he won't read the contents. This could be because he's been known in the past to be fighting with the doctors over Mary's illness diagnoses, and he cannot bear to look at it anymore. Or it could be that there might be dates of treatments and things in there, which would prove to himself that Mary was still alive just a week ago, which could in turn jog his memory to where he realizes what he's done. Or the shame and guilt from what he's done stops him turning even past the front cover. Oh, James, you're such a bloody mess, ain't ya? Bless you. Heading back out into the Sunrise Wing corridor, we can take yet another flight of stairs to reach the 3rd floor, and the door to the conference room beckons us in by being all ajar and that. Inside this large hall of a room, we can find a clipboard next to the fireplace containing a note to the staff and a key to room 107. Apparently someone's left a right bloody mess in there. Makes you think how gross it must be sometimes for hotel staff having to clean up after people's filthy affairs and things like that. I mean, what if we go down there and it's a couple of line figures throwing up into each other's mouths or something, you know? Gross. Or, hey, hear me out. What if it was like 4 mannequins and they were doing like, they were scissoring, but from either, because you know they're 2 parts of the torsos, and they were just scissoring from either end. Crazy. Okay, yeah, anyway, let's get back to it. On the same floor on the other side of the landing, there's an open door leading to a storage room. A single pathetic mannequin begs us to beat 10 shades of shit out of it, and we can acquire the bolt cutters here too. Taking the fire escape back outside and down a floor, we find ourselves before room 217, where some more conveniently timed wind sees the patio doors on the other side of the room do a flappy flappy. And speaking of flappy, this room is filled with empty bird cages. And I'm not sure if there's any more to this symbolism-wise. I mean, a lot of birds have been used in this game's puzzle items, but more notably perhaps the birdcage key in Silent Hill 1. You could hear the sounds of a bird flapping despite there being no visible bird in the cage. I would lean more towards this because if you listen carefully, you can hear the rattling of what sounds like bars on the birdcage every now and then in here. Out on the balcony of this room, we can see an item resting atop a panel of glass. A single shot from our pew pew allows it to drop down into the room beneath it for us to collect later. Room 215 has us creating a shortcut in the wall which leads us back out onto the 2nd floor's main landing area. Unlocking the bolted door here and travelling to room 202, we can use one of the keys we've collected on our travels and step inside. There's a large shattered mirror with a message written in blood behind it.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the sweetest of them all? Peel away the shiny skin and see the rotten flesh within.
This isn't just a Disney reference, but it's also foreshadowing of the ending we're gunning for. Poor Maria. This is a puzzle whereby we must place the shattered pieces of glass back into the frame, fit them back in the right place to restore the mirror to its former glory. Once we've completed that, we're asked to place a spheric object down to complete the puzzle. And here we're going to place our ripe apple. Note, there is also a rotten apple that you can place here, but for the ending we want, the ripe apple is the right apple. When the apple is placed, the surface of the mirror wobbles as if it's like water and something was just thrown into it. We can hear a shriek of a noise, and if we investigate the mirror closely, we can see that it's not reflecting the room we're in anymore, but it's allowing us to see into the room behind it, where a figurine sits on a small table. Heading out of this room then, and then into 201 next door, there it is, the Snow White figurine. It's one of the items we need for the music box puzzle downstairs in the lobby. As we leave the room, we can see things are getting darker in the hotel now. The atmosphere is ramping up, and we're going to get a lot more enemy encounters from here on out, notably the bloody spider mannequins. As we head back downstairs towards the main reception, we can see the hotel is shifting too. The grand, pristine aesthetic we were greeted with when we first arrived is no longer featured. In its place we have damp-ridden walls with the wallpaper clinging on for dear life, puddles which are forming on the floor underneath what we can expect to be a very water-damaged and leaky roof. It's quickly becoming a hellscape, so we need to get a bloody move on, I think. Heading back down the hallway on the ground floor towards room 107, we take care of a few blighters and use our key. Inside is just a ransacked room with some of the cleaning equipment still left out, as if staff came in here, started to work, and then just thought, you know what, we ain't getting paid enough for this, and they just pieced out halfway through the job. There's another note from management here, and as we read it, we can see how disgusting James's fingernails are by this point. I mean, he's been going through it, huh? The note mentions leaves in the garden and a fireplace. There was a fireplace back in that conference room, wasn't there? Okay, let's have a look outside and see what the crack is. Once we're outside, we're treated to a little slaughter tour as we tear a few enemies a new one and acquire the fireplace key at the end of the trail. But before we head up to the fireplace, we can visit the Lakeshore restaurant once more to grab the item we shot through the ceiling earlier. It's a can opener. It's a bit strange, I guess. Oh well, I mean, we'll store it. We'll probably definitely need that later. Jogging back to the conference room on the 3rd floor and opening the fireplace with our new key, we find the Cinderella figurine. That's again, yes, you guessed it, 2 of the 3 items we need. Oh my god. 2 of the 3 items we need to solve the puzzle.
God damn it.
Picking this item up, however, triggers a completely new encounter that Bloober Team added for the remake. It's a boss fight with an up-close and personal duel with a Mandarin. And this is the first time that we've seen one of these on our level like this that isn't, underground. And it's a pretty awesome surprise the first time you reach this point. Other than the big melee slam it has though, it doesn't really have much in the way of new attacks. We're still dealing with tentacles out of the mouth, the shrieking that sends James off balance, that kind of thing. The tactic of shooting it in any one of its mouths still works a treat, and we put this thing down just like all his pals. It's usually by this point in survival horror games that you start feeling pretty confident with the battles, and some people say it's about here where they lose their ability to scare you, but I think in Silent Hill's case, it's not so much the enemies that ever really created all the fear. It's the atmosphere and the implications of the mysterious story which have you feeling uncomfortable half the time. And this might just be me, but I like to start these games feeling scared of every enemy, but slowly learning how to deal with each one to the point I've earned the right to feel a bit more powerful by the end. It's like character progression for the player, isn't it? The hole the Mandarin left in the wall allows us to make a James-size hole in the next wall, and it leads us to a room with an open balcony. Following this around, we enter a room that's been all splattered with blood. Ew, yucky. Wait, no, that ain't blood. That is paint. Okay, it's paint, my bad. And we're taking the can of paint with us, apparently. At least James knows what he's doing. Heading to the 2nd floor reading room, we have a puzzle we need to solve with some books and a painting. This one's pretty simple, you just have to match the symbols on the spines of the books with the painting opposite to activate the hidden room behind the bookshelf. I mean, this is some Resident Evil 1 style puzzling we're doing now, huh? Inside we find a bunch of photographs littered about, and a locked briefcase on the bed requiring 2 4-letter words to crack open. There's also a broken and removable light bulb here which we will need to replace. The photos are hints at where to find key items that we need, and photo 1 suggests there's one back outside in the garden area. On our way back down, I thought we could swing by the unexplored doorway next to the reception area on the ground floor. Inside we find some healing items and a key to room 102. And we quickly swing by room 102, hoover up all the supplies in there, and then make our way back out the front of the hotel to the gardens. We can use the bolt cutters on the chain which locked off a path to us before. And this small path leads us to a fountain of a fish with a fresh light bulb propped in its mouth. We snag it, and now it's time to head back up to the reading room and twizzle that bitch in. Combining the tin opener with the red can of paint, we can now dip our light bulb in it and slot it in. Doing so reveals the 2 words we need to pop that briefcase. Deed done. Opening the case, we get the key for the employee elevator. And for those of you who played the original, you'll know exactly what the next section is. Using our key, we enter the employee elevator room. And this is the start of a really neat section whereby we must deposit our entire inventory into this locker before the elevator will let us use it. And that means everything. Not even our flashlight comes with us. We're only allowed the clothes on our backs for this one. As the elevator arrives below, we can already make out the silhouettes of more Mandarins thumping around with their hand mouths. This time though, we need to play like Sam Fisher and not let them see us. The room in the center with a TV playing white noise is a sort of safe zone. We can slip in and out of here as we hunt the surrounding rooms for the 3 pieces to solve a puzzle and escape. And I'm not even going to mention the 3 stuff anymore. We've had 5 episodes of it now, and I feel like I've drummed that in enough. Instead, from now on, I'm just going to raise a little eyebrow every time, but you're not going to see it. The first room we visit has a glimpse of the past, showing us one of the music boxes all broken to pieces. But in the joining room, there's a blue gemstone in the open fridge. Next, we go prone and crawl through the gap in the wall into the next room, hop over the counter and continue through another gap in the wall ahead. And this is all to avoid spending time in that hallway with the Mandarin. We find ourselves in the kitchen area and there's a bloody lying figure in here. And unfortunately, as we're unarmed now, these things have actually become dangerous again, so we quickly snag the green gemstone off the countertop here and make haste to find the third and final gemstone. Climbing a desk and jumping through a hop down, we come face to face with the guy we're trying to avoid. We discover the puzzle that we need to solve that's on the desk here, but we still need one piece. Lucky for us, there's a cupboard in here which is pushable, and we can see it's hiding a gap in the wall. Of course, in this bedroom, we find the red gemstone. Right, let's pop back next door and see what we're working with. Putting our gemstones into the empty slots in this weird little contraption rotates various parts of the center insignia. The goal is to match it up with the picture that's hanging on the wall in front of us. Another trial and error puzzle. You can fumble around with this long enough and you'll solve it. The symbol we're trying to recreate has been said to relate loosely to the cult of the Order. The coloured gemstones can be viewed as the emotions or pivotal events that led James here. The blue gemstone, which we found in the fridge, could symbolise James's cold detachment that he felt when Mary was sick. The green gemstone found in the kitchen with the lying figure puking up all over the place could symbolise Mary's sickness, and the red gemstone, found in the bedroom of all places, could represent the deed that he carried out. At this point, we're unarmed and vulnerable, and this can be seen as James's ego being removed so that he may uncover the truth. Because solving the puzzle allows us to retrieve the VHS from the safe, and we damn well know this tape is going to be very telling, don't we? Trying to get to the exit proves difficult, and we're going to need to do a lap or something to cheat death here, because this guy's about to take me out. Whoa, that was close. We travel deeper underground, and the atmosphere and tension of the situation is really palpable. I don't really like run and hide horror games too much because I like the ability to at least try to fight back. That being said, as a section for Silent Hill 2, I think this was a great way to take all of that power you were feeling with a full arsenal of weapons away from you, and it forces you to rethink your strategies and literally just try and survive. I think it's very cool. We enter a wine cellar which has a shimmy-through hole at the end, and the rasping sounds of that bloody mandarin can be heard right outside, so we got to be tactical here. It turns out steam is really painful, so we're going to have to go find ourselves the valve handle, which is conveniently missing. Leaving the cellar, we slip the guard and expertly dodge the attack of this brain-dead mandarin and shimmy through another wall on the left. And there it is, right on the workbench, the pump valve that we're looking for. Seems a little bit pointless to have it so near and just out in the open. Almost feels like artificial padding. Making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past and I'm homebound, we make it back to the steamy pipe. James shows everyone just how masculine and strong he is, and just like that, no steam, no burn. Inside the boiler, we grab the key to the Venus bar. Luckily, it doesn't sit in our deep pockets for too long because the door is just outside to the left, and oh, for fuck's sakes, another steamy pipe. They're taking the piss. Fortunately, though, we can reuse the same pump valve from before to solve this issue. Inside the Venus bar, it's a bit moist. There's a foot of water throughout this entire place. The jukebox has seen better days, and this is going to be one hell of an insurance claim. All in all, though, I think this looks like it would have been quite a nice bar for the guests of the Lakeview to go during their stay. Looks very homely and somewhat rustic. If only we could just sit and have a little gin and tonic before we crack on. And it's also here in the water that we can obtain the Little Mermaid figurine. And that's the last one we need for that music box puzzle. Saving the game and leaving the bar, we're back inside on the ground floor of the hotel. Since we have all the figurines for the music puzzle, let's see if we can't get that done before we go upstairs and grab our shit back. This puzzle took me a shamefully long time to do the first time. Again, it's lots of trial and error. And I'm sure there is a formula to it, but I just like to twist and pull things until I understand how they work. The goal for the first section of this puzzle is to rotate the 3 pathways so that when you hit go, the figurines all go to their respective doors at the back of the machine. No, that didn't quite work. Ah, there we go. Lovely stuff. The next section, we need to wind up each key a certain number of times so that the figurines all go inside their doors. Each one of them has a different duration they need to be moving, as their paths aren't all equal length. Just had to go key by key to figure out how many twists it is, and in this case it was 7, 5, and 1. And just like that, it spits out the 3rd floor corridor key while it rings out a haunting melody that follows James back upstairs. We get our gear back from the locker and head to the 3rd floor to use our new key. This is it, guys. It's all been building up to this. We're just moments away from some big truths, and the whole game has been swelling and even boiling over at times, just trying to keep a lid on it all. But now, it's time for some answers.
Are you taping again? Come on. I don't know why, but I just love it here. It's so peaceful. You know what I heard? This whole area used to be a sacred place. I think I can see why. It's too bad we have to leave. Promise you'll take me again, James.
Hey, there you are. Do you know where Mary is? Come on, talk to me.
Mary's gone. She's dead.
Liar. That's a lie.
No. It's the truth.
She died because she was sick?
I killed her.
her back. Give her back to me. I knew it. You didn't care about her. I hate you, James. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you! She was always waiting for you. Why? Why?
I'm sorry. Mary, you know, isn't here. Mary?
James! Where are you? I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you. Please, come to me. Do you hear me? Please, why won't you come?
But where? Where are you?
You're so close now. Please, don't give up. Don't leave me out here, James. James.
So there it is, the cold, hard truth. James is a murderer. And though we don't have the full context and motive yet, Mary did not die from her illness. She died at the hands of the one who should have been caring for her the most, at her most critical time of need. The VHS footage of James and Mary's honeymoon plays out. That's until Mary coughs, which suddenly changes the tone of the tape, and broken up footage of James smothering Mary with a pillow in their bed can be seen. And this was when Mary had returned back to the home for James to care for her full time, while she tried to live as comfortably as she could in her last remaining days. Something must have snapped in James, and he committed an act of pure selfishness. Laura appears again, which is hella convenient timing, wouldn't you say? Also, how the hell did she get to this hotel in the first place? Did she take a boat too? I mean, she was here before us. Weird. Anyway, she's obviously pretty disgusted by the news that not only is Mary not alive, but James is the reason for that. Laura leaves, but then our radio starts to crackle again, the same way it did when we first picked it up. And if you remember that very first transmission that came through the radio, it was actually Mary. She straight up says, "James, why did you kill me?" But it was purposefully hidden until you know the context, and then you can piece it all together. But once again, we're hearing Mary calling out to us, and James has completely lost the plot now. He knows he isn't a hero. He's a guilty, callous person who created the idea of a letter being sent to him by the woman he killed to play into this fantasy that he could seem like a victim. There's only a short while left that he can even hold this up, surely. He takes the bait, and now we're left to continue the search for Mary. Notice the motif change here too. This is what the hotel actually looks like. The Lakeview Hotel was closed due to a devastating fire that broke out sometime after James and Mary had their honeymoon. Maybe foreshadowing the burning hell that awaits James for what he would eventually do, perhaps. Either way, James's delusions, coupled with the town's supernatural power, made this place look as good as new when we arrived. But as all the lies and the delusions are slowly peeling away from James, we can start to see glimmers of the ugly reality. This also means that there was no VHS tape here. This was all just a manifestation the town created to face James with the proof that he is just as much of a monster as the things he's been battling here in Silent Hill. Imagine if you could play the game as Mary on subsequent runs and just all the enemies are just James. Oh, how we'd laugh. The next section is extremely linear and doesn't really require any real head scratching. Lots of the hallways and places we could freely travel through before are now blocked by holes in the ground or piles of debris. This just means we're going to have to do some more shimmying and some more crawling to get through it. All while Akira Yamaoka's Insanity soundtrack makes us feel like we're actually going mad too. But there's still some loose ends though. I mean, what is to be of Laura? She's in this burnt down hotel too. That's incredibly dangerous for a little girl. We didn't get to see Angela again. She's another character that doesn't deserve such a fate. For now though, we can only continue marching forward, much like what the director told us to do in the note from the mobile home. Bloober Team did such a great job with the environmental detail. Sometimes I just have to step back and remind myself how stunning the lighting and textures are. Oh, and speak of the devil, and he shall appear. We eventually come to another answer machine message from our pal, the director.
She will not be cured. All that suffering. I'm no longer sure if it was of any use. If it meant anything at all. I can't say if this newfound understanding, if there's any wisdom to be had in all that happened. I suppose that's for you to learn, and I hope you will.
This message, at least to me, implies by the way the director starts with they and corrects it to she, that the 3 patients in Brookhaven Hospital could all be Mary. He goes on to state that there was no hope and she could not be cured, and that he's not sure if anything was to even be learned from all this. I guess it's up to James ultimately by what he chooses to do after it all is said and done, and by that I mean which ending he's going to get. We get to an elevator that still somehow works and take it to the basement. Which of course is flooded, though I do think at this point Trenchfoot is the last of James's concerns. Wading back through the Venus bar and the wine cupboards collecting ammo and healing items as we go, we reach a doorway which we can see flames flickering and glowing from the other side.
Mama? Mama, I was looking for you. You're the only one left. Maybe then I can finally rest. Mama. What's wrong? Wait. You're not my mama. It's you.
I'm sorry, Angela. I think you were right. What we're looking for, it's not here. Not anymore.
Thank you for helping me earlier. But I wish you hadn't. Even Mama said it. I deserve what happened.
No, Angela, that is not true.
Don't pity me. I'm not worth it. Or maybe you think you can save me? Will you love me? Care for me? Heal all my pain? That's what I thought. James. Give me back the knife.
No, I won't.
Saving it for yourself. Have it your way. It doesn't change anything.
It's hot as hell in here.
You see it too? For me, it's always like this.
Oh man, this scene gets me every time. We get to see Angela again for the final time. She's standing in a large staircase that's ablaze with fire all around her. She's still struggling with her manic state at first, confusing James for her mother again. But she sobers up from that delusion after she realizes it's just the friendly neighborhood wife killer. You can see just how utterly defeated she is, and she just has to sit down from the despair. James tells her that he thinks she was right about how their searches were both doomed for failure. From as far back as even the apartment scene. Angela thanks James for helping her before, but wishes he hadn't. We know that Angela was contemplating checking out early when we managed to get the knife off of her in the Blue Creek apartments, so it appears she's still very much got that on her mind. James tells Angela that what happened to her isn't her fault, but she cannot stand being pitied, especially not by a man. She then mocks James's hero complex by taunting him with things like, "Or maybe you think you can save me." She asks for the knife back and James refuses. Angela asks if he was planning to use it on himself, and James is silent. This is a big change from the original, where James stated that he would never harm himself. But then if you're to get the in-water ending, he would have kind of like 180'd on that position almost immediately. I'm not sure if that's why Bloober decided to remove the line and just keep James silent here, possibly leaving it up for interpretation. As Angela walks up the stairs, James remarks how hot it is, and Angela's famous line, "You see it too. For me, it's always like this," is like a knife in the heart. Angela's tragic story is left ambiguous after this moment as she walks up the stairs, never to be seen again. But we can imagine whatever fate has in store for her, it's not going to be a happy ending. There's a lot going on in this scene visually and thematically. For a start, we know that the hotel burned down in a tragic fire, so we could have assumed that the fire that's around the two characters is just the town's powers projecting what it would have looked like when this place really did burn down. But nothing is falling apart, and until Angela walks out of sight, the fire sort of seems contained to some degree. And then James says that it's hot as hell in here, not "Jesus fucking Christ, this place is on fire, we need to get the hell out of here," which sort of implies that he can't see the fire, he can only feel the heat of it. Angela then tells us that for her, it's always like this. Her time in Silent Hill could just be a burning inferno around her the whole time, mirroring her mental state and her deep anger for what happened to her. Angela is also walking up the stairs away from us, presumably to meet her fate. Usually walking upstairs is symbolism for someone going to heaven, but in a case like this, it's juxtaposed with all the fire, and due to the fact that she's guilty of murder, would she be allowed into somewhere like heaven? Should it exist? Or maybe she's walking deeper into the flames just to be lost in the other world of Silent Hill forever. However which way you want to slice the Angela cake, that woman is the single most tragic character in this entire story, beating Mary off her pedestal 100x in my opinion. And I always know that this is how she goes, but every time I play this story, I hope for a different ending for her. I guess that's the thing about a story in a game like this. Scar will always drop Mufasa off the cliff into the stampede. Happy endings don't really exist here. Heading back up the stairwell and into the corridors of the first floor, we can see all of the enemies that we've been battling throughout our journey are just collapsing and dying of their own accord. This is to represent the fact that now James knows the truth, there is no need for them anymore. They were all symbolic of Mary, trying to get him to face what he's done. But now that we're self-aware, they hold no power anymore. I thought this was a really cool touch. We find ourselves in a new area which doesn't exist inside the blueprints of the hotel. The walls stretch up for miles, a bit like they did in the labyrinth. We work our way to a shimmy through and it leads us to another iconic location. The 9 red squares. This will be the final save point in the game. Each red square represents one of James's delusions, and those are the lying figure, the mannequins, the bubblehead nurse, Flesh Lips, the Mandarin, Abstract Daddy, Redacted, because I'll mention this one in a bit, Red Pyramid Thing, and Maria. Notice as well that when we access this save point, it's the only one in the game where James doesn't stare us down. And this is because the shame of what he's done means he can't even look us in the eyes anymore. He's lied to us, the players, the entire game. What a douche. We set off from this save point and approach a set of steel doors. And it appears there's still some more surprise visits before this thing wraps up.
James!
Leave her alone. Leave us both the hell alone. I know what you are. I know why I needed you. But it's all over now. I don't need you anymore.
Maria was alive again for a couple of seconds. Upside down and strapped to a bed frame, she cries out to James and he begs the pyramid things to leave it out. They obviously do not wish to comply and they stab Maria with their spear. And the reason that there's two pyramid heads now is because they represent the guilt of the two people that James has killed, Mary and Eddie. James remarks that he doesn't have any need for them anymore. He's been confronted with the truth and he's been punished for it enough, so now it's time to fight. Yeah, this boss encounter is about annoying as it is in the original game. The attacks from the pyramid heads have a shit ton of range, and you'll basically need to just pop off a few shots and then run away and try and get them in a line so their attacks don't hit you one after another. And yeah, you're likely going to take a few licks here, but with the amount of healing items that we've been hoarding, it won't be too hard to get through as long as you stick with the program and don't get too greedy. Defeating them just ends with them both spearing themselves under the chin in unison. They do this because James has received the punishment they were born to deliver. James is no longer running from what he did. He accepts who he is, a murderer. And so they cease to be required for service. On their corpses, you'll find the scarlet and rust-coloured eggs. You can use these on the two doors in whichever order you like, but the door that you actually walk through goes towards one of the endings you'll get, so pick wisely. As a tip, the rusty egg is for Mary and the scarlet egg is for Maria. We're going to go with the scarlet one for this playthrough. Entering through the door, we're back in the hotel. As we walk down the seemingly endless hallway, we can hear the echoes of when Mary was at her worst, shouting at James, rejecting his gifts and telling him to go away. She's feeling hideous from the disease and has an extremely low mood.
I don't want any damn flowers. Just go home already. Look at me. I'm disgusting. Between the disease and the drugs, I look like a monster. Well, what are you looking at? Get the hell out of here. Leave me alone already. I'm no use to anyone. I'll be dead soon anyway. It'd be easier if they just killed me. But I guess the hospital's making a nice profit off of me. Why are you still here? I told you to go. Are you deaf?
The door at the end takes us outside where it's nighttime and raining again. The stairway winds round this big open courtyard until eventually we climb a ladder and we find what we're looking for.
Mary?
James. I've been waiting. It's been so long. Didn't you want to see me?
Yes. More than anything. You're all I ever wanted.
That's not true. Is it?
Mary?
You killed me, James.
Yes. I did. I couldn't bear to see you suffer.
Don't make excuses. I know how you saw me, how you felt. You really hated me. Didn't you?
It's true, I may have had some of those feelings. It was a long 3 years. I was so tired.
I guess I understand. I know I was a burden. You wanted a long, happy life. Something I couldn't give. Can she?
Mary, please, if I could...
No, James. Those were the last precious moments I had. How could I ever forgive you?
In this dialogue, we learn that James killed Mary because he was sick and tired of dealing with her. That's basically the long and short of it. He was tired of her outbursts, tired that he couldn't do anything to help, tired that his own life was slipping away while he tried to care for a seemingly unappreciative Mary. Of course, these are all selfish thoughts, but I'm sure most people who care for their terminally sick relatives have deep thoughts in the recesses of their minds that wish for it all to be over. It's like being stuck in limbo. It's like being stuck in Silent Hill, I suppose. But to commit the act that James did, that certainly isn't what most normal people would think to do. He deserves what happened to him since he arrived back in Silent Hill. He isn't a hero and never was. James also states that it was a long 3 years, which is roughly how long Mary was slowly dying from her illness for. This is also interesting because at the start of the game, James states that Mary died from that damn disease 3 years ago, implying that she was dead to him from the start of her needing treatment and care. Another hint of his selfish nature, that even in his hero delusion, he still shows his true thoughts, almost like a Freudian slip. But it makes us ask the question, is James inherently a bad person? I don't think morality is black and white, it's many shades of grey. What James did is abhorrent, but he was in a pressure cooker of a situation and not everyone is cut out to deal with that in the right way. And I'm not being a James apologist here, but Mary clearly loved James as they had many great times together. He wasn't always evil. And this is what Silent Hill was so good at tapping into. These sorts of themes were unheard of to be explored in video games before this title. It's a shame that the series post Team Silent tried to rehash this idea multiple times, chasing success, instead of realizing that this was just an excellent story that stood alone in the series. Anyway, Mary lets us know that we got the right ending by asking us if she can make us happy, referring to Maria. She tells us she cannot forgive us, and now it's time to throw hands. This boss battle is also kind of annoying, sadly. Mary spits out a plague cloud of moths that slowly fly towards you and deal damage on touch. She can also teleport and attack with stabs and 360 spins with the tentacles, much like the ones the mandarins and flesh lips have. You just got to be careful with your dodges and land as many shots as you can on her before she teleports. Dealing enough damage gets Mary into phase 2, where the bed frame turns into appendages, much like Flesh Lips did, a sort of spider-like frame of spiky metal. She screams and it destroys the ground, sending us into the dark pit beneath. And here we have more Flesh Lips style attacks from her as she scurries across the ceiling, bursting down to try and spear us with tentacle attacks. The moths continue to be super annoying, and the awkward way Mary just sort of pops out and holds herself out waiting to take damage feels a bit too video gamey for my liking. It would have been a lot cooler if they wove those attack windows in a bit more seamlessly than this. It feels kind of lazy and it looks a bit goofy if I'm honest. Do enough damage here though and we enter phase 3. Where we're all on the same plane of the battlefield again, and Mary has a charge attack which can clear a lot of distance really quickly, so you got to be careful, as well as all of her previous spinning and stabbing attacks too. After we put her down here, she lays down much like she would have done when she was still sick, calling our name in a pathetic tone. And this ain't gonna fly anymore though, and we put one last buckshot into her disease-ridden mush.
What is this?
Is what you've been looking for.
Let's go. Better do something about that cough.
The ending we got is the one I was gunning for, the Maria ending. In this ending, James goes to collect Maria from Heaven's Night, and she hands him a letter and tells him that's what he was looking for. They head back to the lookout where James was parked, and Maria can be seen showing signs of sickness by coughing. James remarks that she'd better do something about that cough, and then we hit the credits. This is considered a bad ending. James has learnt nothing. He chooses to pick the fantasy woman over coming to terms with what he did. The letter being handed to him, which is inscribed to Laura, implies that Maria is sharing some of Mary's desire to look after Laura, which we saw during the game that she did, and that the only real letter in this game was the one for Laura. It could also feed into the loop theory, because we don't see what happens after James got into the car. He could get into this car, have a brain meltdown again after seeing Mary's body in the back seat, run into the bathroom to wash his face, get his delusion-fueled amnesia again, and then we start right back at the beginning, searching for Mary with an imaginary letter telling us to meet in their special place. It's just got so many dark implications. Like the phrasing of James's apparent concern, you'd better do something about that cough. It's not, are you okay? We should get you to see a doctor about that cough. It's like, you'd better do something about that because the last woman who had that cough, I killed. It's so bleak, I love it. But for the sake of comparison, let's take a look at an ending that seems to be more suited to what one might expect after completing a story like this.
Hey, handsome.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. I told you. I wanted the pain to end.
Yeah. You did.
Mhm.
But that's not why I did it. The truth is, I hated you. I wanted you out of the way. I wanted my life back.
If that's true, then why do you look so sad?
Mary.
It's okay, James. Here.
What is this?
It's what you've been looking for. In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did. Well, I'm alone there now. In our special place. Waiting for you to come and see me. but you never do. So, I wait, wrapped in my cocoon of pain and loneliness. I know, I've done a terrible thing to you. I wish I could change that, but I can't. I feel so pathetic and ugly laying here. Every day I stare up at the cracks in the ceiling, and all I can think about is how unfair it is. The doctor came today. Told me I could go home for a short stay. It's not that I'm getting better. It's just that this could be my last chance. Even so, I'm glad to be coming home. I missed you so much. But I'm afraid, James. I'm afraid you don't really want me to come home. Every time you come to see me, I can tell how hard it is on you. I don't know if you hate me or pity me. Maybe I just disgust you. I'm so sorry. When I first learned I was gonna die, I couldn't accept it. I was so angry. I struck out at everyone I loved. Especially you. And that's why I understand if you hate me. But I want you to know, I will always love you. Even though our life together had to end like this, I still wouldn't trade it for the world. Well, this letter has gone on too long, so I'll say goodbye. I told the nurse to give this to you after I'm gone. Which means that as you're reading this, I'm already dead. But that's okay. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I just hope the pain will end soon, so that you remember me for who I was, and not what the disease made me. I want you to go on. I want you to live for yourself and for others, like you did for me. James, you made me happy.
That was the Leave ending, where James finds Laura, shows her Mary's note, and leaves the town with her. This is considered the happy ending of the game. It's unclear if James would go on to adopt Laura like Mary wanted to, or if that's even really a good idea given what he's done. But we do get to hear Mary's letter read out to us in this ending, and boy is it sad. Like really, really sad. And I don't think the new VA for this readout was terrible, but damn, if you know the Monica Taylor Horgan version from the original, I don't think there's ever anyone gonna top that. It always gets the eyes a bit watery every time I hear it. But we can hear from this letter how the dynamic with James and Mary really was. This is an incredibly depressing and heartbreaking game. One that stayed in my mind rent-free all of these years, and it was such a joy to be able to play this remake and experience it all over again. I think the actors did an amazing job with the source material, and their versions of the characters were all brilliant. Far exceeded what I and a lot of people thought were possible. This Loremaster series has taken me literal months to finish, and I hope you guys enjoyed the ride as much as I did. The next focus on the channel will be the upcoming Silent Hill projects, notably Silent Hill F and whenever Townfall gets more news, but also I'm going to be covering Resident Evil 9 when that gets announced. Great horror content on the horizon, and I hope you'll join me for it. Thank you for anyone who gets this far in this video and has watched my other videos in the Loremaster series. Hopefully I'll get to make another series like this for future Silent Hill games, huh? That would be cool. Chuck a like on this video if you enjoyed it, guys, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next from me. But until next time, I'll see ya when I'm looking at you.